Welcome to Type C Tech Reviews. Today we're going to be unboxing the LG 32GQ950. If at any point during the video you want to check out this exact same monitor, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. But let's get this thing unboxed. All right, now this is a front opening monitor, the newest LG UltraGear available right now. Probably more exciting than any other monitor I've unboxed for a very long time, being an LG fanboy, or as many people like to call me. Okay, so the unboxing experience right away is very different from their other monitors. This is the new generation though. Okay, so the stand is in here. Also the new generation stand. So overall, what do we think of it? Well, it's very similar to last gens, but this part doesn't come off the desk. So it's more of a flat design here. Nice rubber feet, nice high quality thumb screw. Overall, keeping that angular design, but again, a little bit more modern. Then in here, like their premium line of monitors, they have an accessory box. This is a little bit nicer than just having everything thrown about. All right, then in here, we have looks like an HDMI 2.1 cable. You can see right here. HDMI ultra high speed, which I'm assuming is the HDMI 2.1, which is very cool. We have a USB type B to USB type a DisplayPort cable, a massive power brick, the other side of that cable for the power brick, and then what I think right here is a cable management piece. Yes, I believe this is a cable management piece. Okay, so we've got some manuals, registration, stuff like that, but we also have the calibration report right there. So very, very cool. Now, my experience with LG calibrations is they are almost perfect out of the factory, which is very good. But obviously we'll have to see in the full review, which will be coming in just a few days, probably a week, so I can test this really fully. Subscribe below if you want to see that. All right, but then lifting this off, and there we get our first glimpse of the new design, no longer a circle, but this kind of angular design. Now here is the other part of the stand, and there it is. Again, totally redesigned. We have UltraGear on the side embossed in it. Here's where the cable management hooks in. Right there, looks like we've got swivel on that as well. Maybe, maybe not, but we'll have to see. Let's put the stand together right away. To do this, we're just gonna take that, line those up just like that, and then screw them right in. And just like that, they are together. Now, overall, right away, I like this stand. It's definitely more minimal. It doesn't have any red accents. It is completely like this black, off black kind of gray. And that's definitely different from their previous generation, which was a lot of red accents. If you're into more minimal stuff, this is really good, but it doesn't have all those red accents like the previous generation. Overall, build quality is very good, incredibly solid, but no one cares about that. Let's get to the display. All right, so lifting this up, a massive 32-inch screen size, and look at this, a very different looking display that I am used to. It is very different, very angular, very modern. All right, so clipping this in is just a clip-in stand, just like every other LG monitor. Do that, clip it in, and it's in. Let's get this lifted up and setting it on the desk. This thing is a heavy monitor, but right away, wow, a totally different direction than LG's previous line, but I actually really like it. We have the UltraGear logo no longer in red, but now in purple. That's the new generation's color. And I'm trying to see, so this isn't covered in plastic, but this has a glossy, but also like a physical touch. I don't know how they did it. That's very strange. So the back of this is actually beautiful. You can feel that there are cutouts in this, but it still manages to be glossy and reflect light. It's very strange, but I'm really digging it. The back of this looks so much cleaner and so much more high-end than the last generation. They also use this gray plastic. This may look black on camera, but this is all a gray plastic. We do keep the rear-facing ports back here, which I do like. 2 USB type A's, that's the upstream USB type B port, 2 HDMI's, which I believe are 2.1. and then a display port. All right, now before we keep going, we're gonna put on this little clip right there. So that's how you do the cable management. Looks like it's pretty tight though. I mean, that's basically the only channel you have. As you can see right here, that's gonna be pretty tight. Okay, before we continue, let's check out the stand. Okay, that's actually interesting. Very difficult to press this up and down. Not quite as smooth as the last generation. Very difficult. That might be because this is a very heavy panel, which it is. Okay, so no swivel at all. That's interesting. But then it does have tilt, and does it have rotation? Yes, okay, so it does have rotation, but no swivel. Okay, but flipping this thing around to the front, man, that is one of the heaviest 32-inch panels I think I've ever used. But look at this back. Look at how thick this is. This is a thick monitor right here. I am so excited for this panel. Okay, but taking the plastic off, we have glossy plastic around the edges, which does look good. We also then have some plastic on the front of this where the UltraGear logo is, peeling that off. This is a very good looking panel. I was actually kind of worried when I saw this online, kind of seeing how the new generation of UltraGears are gonna look. This looks incredible in person. It really looks so minimal, but so good. Also, I really dig the non-touch total black stand and overall plastic that they're using. It's different and it just looks more premium. All right, but with that, we're gonna get it set up on the desk, and then we're gonna do an initial impressions, go through the menu system, and we're gonna do a gaming impressions and then a ghosting impressions. Let's do it. All right guys, all set up on the desk. I cannot tell you how excited I am for this. I was kind of nervous about the stand to see how good it was, but I am thoroughly impressed with everything. I do wanna note, when I was actually setting this up to make sure everything's perfect, all the rotation was good, I actually take back what I said about it not being smooth. Even though the stand isn't as easy to push up and down and move the angles, it's incredibly precise, way more precise than the last generation. It's easier to get it level faster with more precision, so that's also good. Let's turn this on. The joystick is in the same location down here, although it does feel like it's been changed a little bit, but it looks fairly similar overall. Okay, now we have G-Sync compatible monitor connected. Obviously this has G-Sync, or it's a G-Sync compatible monitor. Let's go into the settings, because right away it looks pretty, but it doesn't look anything jaw-dropping, but we haven't gone into the settings yet. So here we have the new style menu system that was in some of the newer generation back, I think only in one monitor, in the GP950, like the GP850, that had that, and the GP950. So here we have the different game modes. We have game adjust here, picture adjust, input, and then we have the hexagon lighting in the back. Let's go check that out. I did see it as soon as I turned it on. It is nice and bright. I don't know if it's gonna hit the back of the wall or not. I don't know if it's actually gonna be bright enough to do that. We'll have to see, but again, that'll be in the full review. Okay, let's go up to game mode. These are different picture settings, and gamer 1, gamer 2, FPS, RTS, vivid, reader, HDR effect, sRGB, calibration 1, calibration 2. This is actually something where you can calibrate the monitor yourself, and you can set your calibrations to these two settings, which is unbelievably awesome, especially if you're a photo, video editor, doing something professional. That's something that you want. That is so cool. I've seen that on 1 or 2 other LG monitors. Going into gamer 1, we're gonna go down to game adjust. These are the overclock. So it's currently at 144 Hertz. If you want to bump it up to 160, we can set it on that, but we're going to check out some of the other settings before that. Adaptive sync, G-Sync compatible. So it is a G-Sync compatible monitor, not a G-Sync monitor. So that is on. Response time here, we'll go through that at the end of the video, and then other stuff like that. Now we'll go down to picture adjust, and it's on 50% brightness. Let's see how bright this thing gets. Bringing it all the way up, nice and bright. Now I couldn't tell you the brightness just from looking at it. This room is so difficult, but I would assume over 400 nits, but I've been wrong before. Let's go and test it right away. Obviously, don't quote this readout. This is not all done scientifically and perfectly testing and everything. This is just to get an idea right away. Yeah, and we're getting 500 nits. Now, we're getting over 500 nits, 520 nits. Absolutely unbelievable. It is very common for almost all of LG's UltraGear lineup to underdo their brightness. In their ratings, they're almost always at least 100 nits below, which is amazing because it sets your expectations here and then your expectations get blown away. That's one of the things that if you get an LG monitor, you look at the specs and compare them, it always looks like LG is either just here or a little bit below, but in person, man, that is very bright. All right, let's get to it. First of all, we're gonna go into display settings. It is at full 4K. I could tell that immediately. And going in here, it is at 144 Hertz. Now, we're gonna see first, going into NVIDIA control panel, if this thing can output 10 bits of color at 144 Hertz, and it can output 12 bits of color. That is for HDR. So for HDR, 12 bits of color, for Dolby Vision, stuff like that. That is fantastic. We are also going to try gaming in HDR. Now, we are going to then overclock this, the factory overclock, and we're gonna set that to 160 Hertz. All right, now it's at 160 Hertz. We're gonna see if this thing can output still 12 bits of color, and it still can. Fantastic. Guys, I'm falling in love with this monitor. This is gonna be so hard to not keep. All right, that's enough of that. Let's hop in some Battlefield and see how this thing games. All right, now for Battlefield settings, we are gonna be gaming in HDR. And we had a nice little pop-up here that said HDR was on. Fantastic. All right, guys, in game, incredibly smooth as it should be. We're hitting full frames even at 4K, which is very cool. This thing is incredibly clear. Obviously, as a 4K 32-inch monitor should be the perfect size and resolution paired together. A absolutely beautiful experience. Look at that. Look at that picture quality. It is incredibly vibrant, very bright, perfectly bright, I would say. In a bright room like this, right now with a flat display, I am seeing 0 reflections, literally 0 reflections. I could game on this without caring. This is actually kind of amazing. There are a ton of lights in the room on either side of the monitor, and I'm seeing no reflection at all. The image quality is perfect with lights on, which is pretty amazing. Look at that sun, man. I want to play the game, but just look at how beautiful this absolutely looks. Now, obviously, this is an IPS panel, so we're not having those insane deep blacks. I believe this has local dimming. I'm not sure. I don't think it does, actually. I might be getting mixed up here. No, so it does have local dimming. Okay, so this does have local dimming. We'll try turning that off and then back on. I don't know how many zones. I'm assuming that there's not a ton of zones. However, again, that's gonna be in the full review, guys. However, right away, before we continue the HDR gaming experience, it is very, very good. The highlights are nice and bright. But before we do that, we're gonna turn HDR off and just do some normal gaming in SDR. All right, now HDR is off. It is definitely not as bright. I can see that right away. Now, this is 500 nits. The local dimming may be affecting this, but over here you can see that is not as bright. Just right away, it is not as bright. So that is definitely very cool to see that HDR does a very good job just bringing everything out here. But I will say the colors on this are just unbelievable. The amount of vibrancy out of this panel is just beautiful. We just used the Odyssey Neo G8, and right away from Gaming and Battlefield, the same game, that's what we did with both unboxings, even though that had superb black levels, and the black levels on that were significantly better, especially in a scene like this. However, I'm gonna tell you right away, I enjoy this monitor much more over that one. I wouldn't say much more, slightly. Both very good HDR experiences, but this one being flat and the colors just popping more, as you always get with IPS panels. A VA panel will always not have colors quite as good as an IPS, and that's obviously real life experience, not just testing. You can't look at this on specs and go, this is gonna have better colors. In person, the colors just pop out of the display. They are so incredibly vibrant. I keep going back here because that orange sunset is just stunning to look at. The amazing thing to me is the matte finish it doesn't even feel matte. It's kind of a mix between two. If you come to the side, kind of get the light shining on the display, you can see it's kind of matte, but it's a very subtle matte finish. And I think that adds a lot to the overall clarity of the screen. And then those colors, which are just unbelievable. This might be switching to one of my personal monitors because this thing is just too good. I mean, just the gaming experience. We haven't even done anything else. Okay, we don't know if there's some problems. There might be some problems, but right away, this thing is just unbelievable. All right, guys, but that's enough gaming. I would sit here forever. Let's do a ghosting test. I'm expecting, obviously, this thing to be perfect. The vibrancy and the clarity and the insane brightness, guys, it's just mind-boggling. I absolutely love this. I absolutely love this. And you might be thinking, well, the black levels on the Odyssey Neo G8 are just better, and yeah, they are. However, most people will have a preference between a VA or an IPS. That's just how it is. Even if you love deep, contrasty blacks, most people will have a preference, and I have always loved IPS just because of those colors, the perfect viewing angles. But obviously, the best of both worlds is OLED, but they have burn-in. All right, let's check the ghosting. Right away, I can tell you there's like none. There might be the smallest amount, but let's go into the menu system. Just using a gigabyte, that's what I was grabbing over there, but let's go in here. Go to game adjust, down to response time. Let's set it to faster. Now that's interesting. I think this is the first time ever that we've seen an LG monitor in the fastest response time setting not have any pixel overshooting or inverse ghosting. I tell you right away, there is 0 pixel overshooting, and this has got to be the best IPS ghosting I've ever seen. I literally cannot see any. This looks identical to my eyes. This looks identical to my eyes as the QD OLED, which has like 0.01 millisecond response times. This is perfect ghosting. There is none. Let me show you on the camera. I'm gonna do a little bit of a pan here. You can see there is no ghosting. Guys, this may be my personal perfect monitor. I am so excited, and I might take a little bit longer to review this because number one, I want to get everything right about this. And number two, well, I might have to keep this monitor. I might have to replace my other 4K monitor because this is a special one. All right, again, if you want to check it out, there are Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. This thing is so good. I cannot get over it. Just the unboxing, there may be something bad, but we'll have to see. I am gonna review this very critically, so if there is any problem, I am definitely going to be talking about it in detail. All right, but this was Type C Tech Reviews. Make sure to subscribe below if you want the full review coming in a week, maybe a few more days than a week. But yes, this is Type C Tech Reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next video.